A lot of people are interested in buying real estate to facilitate getting a second citizenship. And today I'm going to share with you a number of examples of how you can buy luxury real estate and get a passport in the process. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson. This is Nomad Capitalist, where we help 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs and investors legally go where you're treated best. And having a second citizenship is such an important thing to do, especially in these chaotic times. It can be a plan B, it can be a plan A. We've talked about that in other episodes here on the channel. But people often look at, for example, citizenship by investment programs in the Caribbean. They said, I don't want to make a donation. Now, many times making the donation is the cleanest and fastest and most efficient thing to do, especially if you are investing in something like a high growth business, cryptocurrency, etc. The opportunity cost of a donation is often much lower. And if you look at the Caribbean, what you'll see is approved real estate projects. And so when people say, hey, I don't want to make the donation, let me go and look at these real estate options that they have. You have most of the citizenship by investment countries these days do offer real estate options. Vanuatu just came out with what I said was a rather opaquely positioned real estate program that they're rolling out. The Caribbean is certainly more developed, but most of the projects that you're going to find for the minimum, whether it's 200,000 or 220 or 300, whatever it is, are going to be timeshares. You're not going to be able to live there. I think a lot of people don't understand that. The commissions that are paid on some of these projects are insane, and so I'm sure I'm going to get some hate from people because they're angry that projects that they can afford to pay a $50,000 commission on. Imagine if you could pay a $40,000 or $50,000 commission on a real estate project that cost $200,000 or $300,000. Imagine how much money you're making on that. And so I've generally said, don't do those projects. There are very limited circumstances, which I would say, to buy into the minimum. But if you're willing to spend more and you want to buy a luxury property, that's where I've said, hey, there may be an opportunity for a limited number of people. Now, what I would also suggest is you may not want to conflate your citizenship needs with your property needs. So for example, if you wanted to live in the Bahamas or the Cayman Islands or Turks and Caicos or Barbados or Mexico or any number of other places in the Caribbean, you can buy property there without having to tie that to citizenship. It may well, in many of those jurisdictions, get you a residence permit. And so maybe you just want to make the donation for citizenship in one of the other islands and then buy where you actually want to buy. I kind of think that putting together the idea of, all right, I'll settle for property in this place that I wasn't really that interested in compared to the place I really want to go, just to not make a donation doesn't really make a lot of sense. Now, if you look at the Caribbean, you have St. Lucia, no projects that I can tell. There's a lot of different projects. It's hard to keep up with them all. No projects that I can tell in St. Lucia that meet the criteria we're talking about, where you can actually get past kind of the turnkey deals. Dominica seems to maybe have a little bit, but it's hard to really nail down. As I said, Vanuatu's program, not so good. But we can look at, for example, Grenada, considered by some to be one of the strongest passport programs in the Caribbean. They do have, and we have talked about them before, as having some independent villa projects, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom villas. I saw one up to 6,800 square feet or a little over 600 square meters. Now, I'm not going to give anyone a free plug. I'm not going to push anything because I haven't evaluated these. But what you do have on an island like Grenada is people who are saying, hey, you know what? We're going to build maybe a hotel, but we'll build some villas nearby. Those still could be potentially overpriced because of all the fees associated with buying a co-branded project. But you'll also have people who are just saying, you know what? We're going to build 10 villas. They're $3 million each. And hey, it'd be a good idea for us to register for this citizenship by investment program to make sure we're capturing a top-notch customer. We're adding value to that customer to get the sale. So Grenada does have some programs, multiple bedroom villas that you can own, that you can live in full-time, not a timeshare, and you can get some pretty big ones. Some of the ones I saw, they weren't, on the ocean, but you can be, with an ocean view. So Grenada has always been one that we've talked about. You can invest, again, we may be talking about, 7 figures in many cases here. St. Kitts also has options. Now, St. Kitts has really been aggressive recently in trying to get rid of some of the real estate projects that, quite frankly, shouldn't have been there. But what you do have now is some projects that, perhaps if you're looking for luxury real estate, makes sense. So I've seen a few lots that are approved, like they're part of a greater building project where you can go in and buy a lot. Now these lots are not cheap. I mean, some of these lots could be in the high 6 or 7 figures, but you could buy a lot in a certain community that's part of the approved programs, and you could build in the future, that can get you citizenship. I saw one 3-bedroom home on the island of Nevis, the smaller island, 3-bedroom home. I was looking at these beautiful jungle views. It's not really that close to the ocean, but you can see the ocean in the distance. Beautiful, trees though, jungle in the middle. You have 1.4 acres and it was $1.2 million. I saw another 5-bedroom home, certainly again, not on the ocean, but only $595,000, and that had been registered as part of the program. Another program, if you look at just how expensive it can be, if you want to be on the water, $6 million for 5 acres of land right on the ocean. So it can get pretty expensive, but imagine, 5 acres on the ocean in the Caribbean, in the West Indies. That's pretty hard to beat, even though the price tag is high. So St. Kitts and Nevis has had that. They have some approved programs. They've got a long list of approved real estate options. Antigua has started to catch up a bit. I've seen a few villa projects. Again, I saw more of the ones that were attached to hotels, which nothing wrong with that. But if you look at most projects around the world, you go and see the Four Seasons residences or the Ritz-Carlton residences or the St. Regis residences. You're going to pay a substantial premium. I remember in Malaysia, it was something like 3 or 4x over a similar luxury property just to be in that property in terms of not only buying it, but then the ongoing fees are high. And quite frankly, in some cases, the quality to me is almost lower with some of those hotel co-branded projects. So do keep an eye out for that. Now, that's the Caribbean. So 2 or 3 of the islands, I think, have competitive options. If you just want to buy something that's not a box. Now, by the way, the islands also have, condo projects. If you want to buy a luxury condo, some of the condo projects, again, maybe a bit more expensive than you'd find somewhere else. You may not want to conflate, where you're buying a lifestyle property with where you're getting citizenship. But there are condo projects, $350,000, $400,000, $500,000, that kind of thing, that you could actually move into. They are limited. Again, a lot of these are, hey, help us build our hotel and we'll throw you a 2% return every year with a guaranteed buyback. Guaranteed by who? Well, that's the question you have to ask. If the Caribbean's not your speed, Turkey does, of course, have a citizenship by investment program that allows you to buy property pretty much anywhere on the open market, so no approvals there. There are a few caveats to keep in mind. One of the biggest caveats, that's not a government caveat, but it's my caveat, is don't buy overpriced properties that you find at the airport or from gringo websites online. You really want to work with a professional. But certainly you can buy luxury properties in Istanbul. There are some extremely expensive properties along the Bosphorus that occasionally someone snaps up. You can go down to Antalya, all the areas along the sea. So if you want to buy a villa, you can do that in Turkey and you can use that to get citizenship. Lastly, among strictly citizenship by investment programs, you could probably find something in Egypt that's quite luxurious from $400,000 and up. Again, there's a few caveats there. Probably not an attractive citizenship for most folks, but it is an option if we are talking about all the different citizenships that allow you to buy luxury property starting in Egypt in the mid-6 figures. Now, this does not cover all the different residence by investment programs. Portugal's Golden Visa is now in 2022 going to severely limit where you can buy property. Theoretically, there are still some pockets that are outside of the most developed areas where you could buy property and qualify for that Golden Visa. You have other Golden Visas all across Europe that allow you to buy property that, again, could be luxury property, whether it's in Greece, whether it's in Latvia and elsewhere. You've got all kinds of countries around the world, from Panama to Thailand, where you could buy property, and there's minimum criteria. It might be $300,000 and thereabouts in both of those countries. You could spend as much as you want. That's not going to give you citizenship. It may give you residence, and the residence in a case of a European country may lead to citizenship. So we could go on all day with those. But if you want to buy luxury property and get citizenship in a matter of months, you've got a handful of countries where you can do that and not get sucked into turnkey properties that may be overpriced while still not making a donation. Don't stop now. We've got well over 1,000 more videos here on YouTube for you to watch and learn how to go where you're treated best. And if you want to work with Nomad Capitalist personally, go to nomadcapitalist.com/apply, learn about our unique, tried and true process, garnered over years of experience, and learn how you can become our client.